Hi everyone, I'm here in Stirling on a pretty miserable day, but it's always a joy to be back here in my favourite city. It is a special place in my heart, not only because it's the place that I grew up in, but more importantly, it's where on the 30th of May 1982 I became a Christian, just over there in the Albert Hall. One of the local evangelical churches had hired it from the council for a special outreach event. No problem at all back in 1982. But it might be a different story today. Might there be some questions asked of the church as to what they believe before the local authority let them use the building? That's what I want to speak about in this video. How our freedoms as Christians to use buildings not owned by ourselves is being restricted in a rather alarming way. Stirling Free Church had its beginnings here in the Girl Guide hut in Glebe Avenue, just a few yards from my home, just up the road when I grew up. The church then moved here to the Smith Institute in Albert Place. Many people started coming, many became Christians, and they soon outgrew this building. So an opportunity came up for the church to rent accommodation here in the historic Stirling Castle. It had formerly been the home of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, but when they were disbanded, all this accommodation became available for rent or hire by various organisations. Stirling Free Church entered into a rental agreement with the Robertson Trust. They started meeting, everything was going fine, until the chairwoman of the Robertson Trust discovered that it was a free church that was using the premises, and she was not at all happy with what the free church believes, what the Bible teaches, what Jesus teaches about marriage being between one man and one woman for life. Now, understandably, Stirling Free Church was shocked and very upset that the rental agreement had been cancelled quite unlawfully. So they took the Robertson Trust to court, not here in Stirling, but because the Robertson Trust is based in Glasgow, the court case has been heard here at Glasgow Sheriff Court. Now, as well as civil cases, the Sheriff Court also hears criminal cases. How long before a street preacher is going to be brought here under the new Hate Crime Act? Stirling Free Church's case may well end up here at the Court of Session in Edinburgh City Centre. Scripture encourages us to pray for those in authority. Often we think of politicians, but actually the judges have just as important a job to do. They're as much in authority as the politicians. It was very encouraging recently when Lord Braid found in favour of the 27 church leaders that had challenged the Scottish Government's decision to close every church and to criminalise all public worship in Scotland at the beginning of January this year. It shows that sometimes it's right to take cases to court to establish a principle for future guidance, to preserve our freedom as Christians. So what does all this have to do with the Christian Institute? Well, we've been supporting Stirling Free Church and many other Christians that are getting into difficulties with the law for their stance on biblical truth. In the coming Parliament here at Holyrood, there's going to be quite a lot of very controversial legislation put forward over the next few years that could make things even more difficult for Christians. We stand ready at the Christian Institute through our Legal Defence Fund to help you without any cost whatsoever, instructing the best lawyers available to uphold not only your freedoms, but the historic freedoms of all Christians here in Scotland. If you'd like to keep up to date with all that we're doing, please do subscribe to our mailing list that you'll find at christian.org.uk. Just click the sign up button. It'll be great to have you on board. Thank you.